Yeah, so, hey, we each have a journey, and none of our journeys, our human journeys, are the same, but none of them are easy, right? And it's what makes us interesting, I think.
Big it up, big it up. Yep. Damn in my face. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go.
Welcome to Let's Talk Real. We are here with Greg Schwartz,
Hey.
CEO and founder of Tomo.
Good to be here.
Nationwide Mortgage.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
In the flesh.
Yeah.
Flesh.
Human being
I know.
live in a room.
I know, not on just
Pretty
on
awesome
Zoom,
room, too.
We're
Yeah.
on the phone.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome. Tell me.
Yeah.
You know, we'll jump right into it.
Yeah.
Why'd you think of? I mean, Tomo. What made you want to get into lending? What in the first place? I mean, and where'd the name come in? The name.
Yeah. I'm always happy to talk about our story. And by the way, we just met with your entire team. Thanks for giving us an hour, and it was kind of a blast. And
Cool.
We got shelled with awesome niche financial questions on mortgage finance, which we're nerds.
Sharp, right?
We're nerds. So like this is our Super Bowl, like I was saying. So it's great. So mortgages, Tomo. So we started this company 2.5 years ago. It's a purchase mortgage company. They sort of build the experience to be like the other digital experiences of our lives that are amazing. We should be as good in the mortgage business and the real estate transaction as Uber Eats, as in getting your food to you, or Amazon and getting your books or whatever we buy on Amazon now. So the whole idea is to take the pain and the fear out of the mortgage process so that folks can get into homes they love with less work and less worry, and we don't have real estate agents needing to pull their own hair out. And so we try to have a mortgage experience that's personal, that's not intimidating, with exceptional pricing. So lean pricing, no lender fees, great rates. And we use digital technology to try to get people their answers, their approvals faster than anywhere else.
To the tech
With less paper. Yeah, the tech piece.
because I can't afford to. I don't have a lot left.
You're a little-
It's gonna. I don't
Pretty like you.
out. Yeah. So we need services. We need less hair pulling out
Yeah.
tech. And so how does because when you think about, you see pictures, and even the mortgage industry, real estate has changed even in the past 10 years. Thick files, like,
Yeah.
Let me get the Smith file, like, boom.
Boom.
Like,
We call it a thud.
yeah.
And boom. Yeah.
How do you bring the tech, and how do you get rid of the paper
Yep.
and make things more seamless?
Hundreds of items, one by one by one. You don't replace the whole machine of manufacturing a mortgage or underwriting a mortgage all at once. Very risky. What we do is we do one thing after the next. So it's funny talking about the thud. My first time in a mortgage, have you ever been on a mortgage underwriting floor? Was like 100.
With all the people.
Yeah. And so for those of you that might not have seen it, it's a wild experience because you got all these great folks who've got 2 monitors and then big stacks of paper and highlighters. And they're just comparing everything from screen to paper documents and making sure that they don't miss any of the rules. Computer software is really good at helping with that. So what we're trying to do first is for those with classic documented income, be able to get their pay stubs and their bank balances and their brokerage statements digitally by just connecting their accounts, not by making them print and pull out a phone. Like, this is what happens. Your stuff's in a database, your financial information is a database. You print it out, you take a picture of it with a phone to upload it to a portal or email to somebody. It's kind of crazy, right?
Right.
And somewhere around 10% of all manually input financial data gets miskeyed. Creates tremendous problems downstream. So we're trying to get everything directly from bank accounts securely, and brokerage statements and payroll systems.
So it cuts out some of the middle work. And I'd imagine if you're calling me to try to dig through my last and find my pay stub from January,
Yeah.
I said, I guess I got it somewhere. I don't even have access to that email anymore.
Yeah.
I changed jobs. Now you can just pull it from, I guess,
From systems.
from systems.
From the magic of the internet.
Right.
Yeah. So that's one approach. The other approach, I guess you asked at the beginning, which is why mortgage? Because it's a need. And what we all want in life, I think, is to work on things where we're needed. And we found after our time at Zillow, and we really were looking at real estate, that much of what we would call the catastrophe or the drama or the discord is not in the real estate agent's process, the brokerage process, but in the mortgage financing process. It's too hard too often. It happens too late. There are too many fees. It's too fearful in so many ways. So that's what we're working on, is to take the fear out of the mortgage process by making mortgage decisions faster, by using technology to make them more accurate, and then to eliminate a whole bunch of the cost, especially lender fees. We think lender fees are the most evil thing you could imagine in the real estate process.
Yeah, and you can make that up, I guess, in volume and doing the amount of loans and helping the number of clients you guys are. You can operate on thinner margins.
That's right. Yeah, we're in 33 states now, and that's we're doing pretty well, and we're having fun by partnering with the top teams in the country.
And thank you. Now what your background from tech that you brought to Tomo.
Yeah.
You work with a little company. It starts with a Z. What?
Yeah. There's a thing called Zillow that some of you have heard about. Yeah. Hey, I had the pleasure to spend 13 years working on Zillow, and my last assignment was as the president of everything but iBuying. So the Premier Asia product, their mortgage business, rentals, new construction. So I kind of ran all those businesses. And it was a pleasure of my life, of my career, was building that great business with many of you, and watching these amazing real estate businesses grow. Adjacent to Zillow was a blast. So I learned a few things.
Yeah, you learned some things, and also you got to see how the boots on the ground work.
Yeah,
because there was sometimes agents would say there was a disconnect, but and you got to actually, once you got to see the other side of the business, what translated for you from Zillow that helped make Tomo such the juggernaut that it is?
Yeah, so let's play this out. Here's the thing I learned. At the end of the day, it's about the people. The real estate business, as are all of these businesses, it's about showing vulnerability, a little bit of humanity, and being accessible. And I think that's the thing that the Z company was very good at, which is what we call Zillow at Tomo.
The Z company.
And what I think we're really making strides of at Tomo, and I tell the story of the elephant and the ant. So an elephant steps on an ant, not because it hates the ant, because it can't see it. And that's how many of us feel when we're dealing with big banks, or frankly, big government, big education, that we're not hated. But I hire many great folks that have worked at the big banks. Bank of America, for example, with a bunch of great teammates from there. They train great people, but at a certain point, it's so big, the bank can't see their loan officers. Their loan officers can't see sometimes their home buyers and their agents. And so what we're trying to do at Tomo is take that fundamental lesson that each house is someone's life. The precision really matters. I'll tell you something I do symbolic of each customer, each agent matters, is I personally put my personal cell phone number, my mobile number, on every single pre-approval letter.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So day or night, people call, and they do, especially real estate agents, especially transaction coordinators. When they're missing that one thing, they always call Sunday evenings during dinner, and I pick up the phone every time, and I learn from each one of those things. But that's how important it is to us at Tomo that we look not at transaction counts, not at dollar volumes, not at conversion rates, but at people. And we act like that. And if we can, and I think we're doing pretty well at it, if we can treat people as individuals and figure out how to, as a company, scale that, do that at massive number, then you've got something that people feel connected to, a brand people feel connected to. And that's what I hope we do.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So people, I mean, some would look and say, Greg, you're so smart. You're so successful. It just comes easy to you. I'm sure you never had any trials, tribulation.
Oh my gosh.
Setbacks, adversity. The name is, let's talk real. So what was a time, either, business or personal, a time of challenge and that happened, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah. So, hey, we each have a journey, and none of our journeys or human journeys are the same, but none of them are easy. Right. And it's what makes us interesting, I think. I'll give you two things, both a challenge and some lessons. And lucky enough, I have just this wonderful mom and dad. But Dad was, and I think about myself as a parent, was really demanding. And my sport, did you play sport as a kid?
Yeah, wrestling.
Wrestling. Okay, the wrestlers are tough. Yeah, that's tough stuff. I was a swimmer. I swam the butterfly, which is just a painful thing.
Yeah.
And I had this awesome dad, and he would drive me to swim practice. Even as a little kid, I had a 5 a.m. swim practice, and I had another swim practice after school. What it taught me is you put the work in, you can see the benefits. There's a clock at the end of the lane, and if you don't, you won't. And Dad used to sit there with a legal pad, a big yellow pad. And he'd write down every lap of butterfly when it was around that I'd swum, and he'd record the time. And he'd ask me on my 20th lap of butterfly, why was my thumb dragging on top of the water? Why was I so lazy and weak that I hadn't put it in? And he did it with love. It wasn't like bad. But, when you're facing that level of scrutiny and expectation of precision, it teaches you a system in life, which is you can't not do the work. And so not a single thing of my career I got to tell you, has been easy, but I've never feared putting the time and the work in a rigorous, thoughtful way, because there's no other way forward. I'm not smarter than anybody else. I'm probably not as smart as many out there, but I'm willing to outwork them. And I'd give you, this is a small struggle, but one maybe people can connect with. I was a young guy, and I was working my tail off, and I wanted this promotion, and I was working at this company that many of you might not have heard of called Yahoo. And I was a top salesperson, and I was putting in, 80, 90-hour weeks. I was putting up big numbers. I really wanted this promotion. And I thought my teammates loved me. And I tried to give to everyone and be kind. And to my great shock, I didn't get this promotion that I worked for a year and a half or two, just solely focused on, to the exclusion of weekends and family, birthdays. I was that driven kid because of my dad's swimming stuff. Because it gets in your head and it creates discipline, like I'm sure wrestling has for you.
There's a commonality with the individual sports thing, but
There is, right?
Yeah.
There is, because you can't. There's no excuse.
Yeah,
You do it or you don't.
Somebody didn't pass me the ball, or Susie missed the shot.
Yeah.
No, it's when you're out there, it's just you.
It's just you, and it's fearsome. So I did get this promotion, and it was one of the first is as a 20-something-year-old shocks. I've had many other bumps in the road, but that was one of my first shocks. And it taught me the most important thing I've learned about leadership. My teammates, who I cared deeply for, were the ones that took my legs out on the promotion, my friends. That was the biggest hurtful shock, was my friends didn't think I was ready. And I went to them and I said, well, I've been really kind to you and I've helped you on deals. And what I really came to learn is I was providing technical expertise. I had the answers. In my youthful insecurity, I thought that being the expert on everything was how people would follow a leader. Knowing everything, being the technical superior, that people would just follow me. And what I realized is my friends no longer connected with me. They didn't feel like I cared about them as people. They didn't think I had empathy for them. They thought I was technically proficient. So that was the most important and first big lesson of a young career in leadership, was people connect with the folks that they think actually care about them, have empathy for them, and intend to do them right. And if you can figure out how to make truly in your heart care about others, you have the right to lead, to manage, to drive, to build, to get people to follow you as a team. And if they don't believe that you actually care about them as human beings and their unique stories, you're cooked, because it is a right and a gift to lead and build. It's not something that comes from the title. I don't know. Right.
Yeah.
So, that would be one of an early, it's a small hardship, but an early lesson that really drove things.
Yeah. Oh, quote of the day. I don't have my phone. Oh, we got a quote of the day. Let's do a quote. You can't allow tradition to get in the way of innovation. There's a need to respect the past, but it's a mistake to reverse your past. That's Bob Iger, media executive in business.
One great exec in the hot seat. Wow, right?
I was going to say, you said it wasn't easy. I'm sure speaking to shareholders is easy, right? No, that's the job.
That's the job.
Yeah.
If you want the fame,
yeah, if you want you have to put up with the thing. But that's going to the individual sports thing. I always say, gymnasts, swimmers, Wrestlers, those individual sports really build a certain self-discipline. I think that you find that commonality in great leaders like yourself, that there was a sport and oftentimes an individual sport.
Yeah. It teaches vulnerability, right? Which is like, leaders have to be vulnerable. They have to be willing to be vulnerable for people to trust them, right? In an individual sport, in my case, when you're on the starting blocks, nothing more than a Speedo, and you're about to dive into the pool and you've worked for 6 months, mornings and evenings, either you've done the work or you haven't. And the clock's not going to lie. And when you get on the wrestling mat, right? Either you're the better wrestler and you've prepared, or you haven't, right? And there's no lying.
That's it. Yeah. Well, this was good. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, thanks. You have to come back and we can kind of elaborate some more. I'd love to hear more of it.
Yeah, love to.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Pick it up.